Alright, welcome back to the channel. Part 2 of the 4-day drift car. We're getting to the rear end. Time to pop off the wheels, exhaust off, diff out, shocks out, pull all the arms, throw all the good shit back in. Let's get to it. Oh, it'd be nice to get some fresh rubber on these, but we got a few laps in them. All right, with the wheel off, let's take a look under here at what all we're going to replace. So we have our, I don't know, traction arm. We're going to pull this one out, actually. So the spring bucket controls tow. So we'll start here and pull that out. We're going to put a jack underneath here to keep it up so we don't just like pop that spring out. Let's see, we have a tow arm. Oh shit. So this one right here is tow, and then this is our traction arm. So we'll go ahead and jack it up. We'll get those popped off, and then we'll pull the shock, and we'll drop this arm off, and then we'll get the rest of these arms just pulled off, and then I'll pull them off the other car because they're all adjustable. And we'll move them over here. All right, starting here with the bucket. I have a jack underneath right now supporting it. There's not like any pressure up on it, just enough so it doesn't spring down. So with a 17 millimeter on here, get a 17 French on the other side, and we'll zip it out. Alright. And with that, I should be able to start. If I loosen up this jack, this bucket will come down and get the spring out. And then there's one more bolt that's in there. And then that'll bring the bucket arm out. Alright, it appears to be a 17 millimeter bolt as well. And the back of the shock has a thread on it, so no nut. I have a feeling that thing wasn't threaded in right. That took a lot of effort. Check the threads on this bolt. Yeah, it's a little chewed up, but it'll survive. Alright, so on the tow arm, Nissan were kind of dicks when they engineered this. So there's a centric bolt right there. There's a centric washer or something on there. It sits between these, so you can use it to set your length. But to get this bolt out, you kind of have to take out the sway bar. So there's the back end of the bolt. Push it from the other side. We're out there against, you can kind of see in there, we're against the sway bar. So while we're pulling things out, and I was going to change the sway bar anyway, we'll remove the end link up here, zip that off. Probably have to pull out some of the shrouding to get to it, which fucking plastic. I hate plastic trays on cars. There's no point in this being here. It's just collecting water and getting in the way. So plastic tray comes off. We'll be able to get to these. All right, sway bar removed with the plastic tray and crap. So end link connects up here. Pop that off. Get the plastic tray off. There are two nuts holding that on. I just put them back up there so that they didn't get lost. That loosens that bracket, and then you can pop that damn eccentric bolt out. All right. Tow arm comes out. Oof. So the last thing left is the compression arm. Let's see if I can find an angle on this thing and not blind myself. I can't see shit. Alright, so end up getting that off. Once you get that bucket off the back, the spring bucket, it gives you a better access to get like an impact on the back end here. So zip that off, and then there's a bolt that goes through into the lower subframe there. I got to get a wrench on that and try to pry it out because that's a tough spot to get to. You can't really get a socket on that. I'm pretty sure in the past I just used my jack to push a wrench up. Not the best idea, but it'll do it. So that nut can come off, and let's get this shock out of here. Up in the top there are two, I think those are 12 millimeter bolts. Just zip those out, or nuts, two 12mm nuts. Pull out the shock, it'll be free. And then pretty much you have the knuckle hanging on this upper control arm. And then we can start replacing the arms. So, but before I replace the arms, while I still have everything out of the way, the diff has to come out, and with the arms out of the way, it'll be easier just to like crack the nuts and bolts off the axles there. So there's 6 on each side. Get those removed, and then I'll have to do everything on the right-hand side. I'm getting tired here. It's 105-degree heat index here today. I'm in an enclosed garage. I have a fan. That's it. So, very tired. I must have just wiped my face off. Anyway, I don't want to show my face. I'm ugly. So. Yeah, I'm just gonna rip the rest of this shit out. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. One more look in here. So we have, all right, so shock is out, spring bucket is out. It's your is that toe or camber? I don't know. I think that's toe. Yeah, so toe. Camber's down low. And then thrust is in there somewhere. Right there. So yeah, all the arms are out. Sway bar is disconnected. I gotta do the other side and then undo the axles and diff. And then we'll do it all in reverse. So this is gonna take me some time. Come back when things start going back in. Alright, all the arms are off both sides. It's hot, so hot. This thing probably has a seal leak on it. Anyway, this differential's coming out. I'm gonna put the one over there in that's welded up. So we need to pull off the 4 bolts that are in the drive shaft, the 6 bolts that are in each axle, and there is a nut on the back of the diff that goes through there. We'll also need to unplug, there's a sensor up there for the ABS and wheel speed, so make sure that you unplug that before you like drop your diff down, because it's just going to hang by that wire, and that's not good. So yeah, I'll start by getting the drive shaft off, the axles, put a jack under it, keep it supported. Oh yeah, and those 2 bolts that are on each side, one on each side. Try to record this without getting in the way too much. These are 17mm on the drive shaft. Get the impact on there a little bit. And try not to strip it out. There we go. Not too bad. Not all the way. Keep it on there so I'll have to knock in the face. Always nuts it first. Right there. Three. Alright, 4. And the should be coming down. I might be able to, I might have some carrying, so it can like slip down. And it's wiggling loose, but it can't really go anywhere because the carrier bearing right there. Oh, there we are. So that has 2 nuts on it, and then it should just kind of slop down, slunk down, I don't know, sink down, and that'll give us enough space to get the diff off. So I'll go ahead and pull those nuts. Alright, pretty simple. 1 nut, 2 nut. And the moment I got that a little bit loose, the drive shaft fell down, so it's free from the diff. Alright, pro tip with this diff, make sure you start back here with this nut. If you take off these bolts, this thing is just kind of twist in place as you try to crack that nut loose. So start back here, crack it loose, zip it off, whatever, and then move to the front. So I just broke that one loose, the breaker bar. We'll get it zipped out, and then we'll take out these other bolts and drop it down. One more thing I always forget. There's a breather tube on the back of this differential. You see that little clip? Too much zoom, too much zoom. Back it up. There we go. See that little clamp right there? That's your breather hose. Connects to the back of the diff case. So if you can get pliers in there and pop that off, cool. Otherwise, as you start to bring the differential down, you're going to want to pop that off when it gets a little bit lower. But we'll start sliding the diff forward to get the bolt out of that bushing hole. And then we'll start lowering this down and try to get that off. Touchdown. Alright, I'll get the back hole in. Go ahead and put a little nut on there. Or a nut. Just so it doesn't slide forward and out. I can find my socket. So we got a nut on the back so it's not going to fall out. So we got one disc on top of the diff bushing and the other one slid off somewhere. Where did it go? Socket. Let's try to get this thing threaded. Not quite lining up. Might take a little finagling. I had to use ratchet straps when I put this in the other car. Alright, that one's going. Sweet. Now we gotta line the other one up. Go to the other side and hopefully it goes okay. You don't need to see this. Solid. Alright, diff is in. Sweet. I just start putting shit back together. I crushed my fucking hand. Ow. Damn it. I can lay here and die now, okay? Alright. Well, the diff is in. I've also got my SKM Stu Kelly Motorsports diff brace in here. I still got to put in the spacer and the bolt for that. I got it somewhere around here, but that's going to be nice because I've got this old crappy bushing back here that's going to help with a lot of deflection, because this diff did have some new bushings put in, some new polyurethane bushings, but yeah, this is going to be awesome. Good setup here. It'll be interesting being back on a stock bushing car because the other one had solid diff, solid knuckles, solid engine mounts. Like everything was everything was pretty hard in there. Yeah, so damn, I guess it's time to go to the other car and pull off the arms because we need to start putting them back on here. Get the old diff out of the way. It's just a big hunk of metal at this point. I'll pop it open and see what ratio it is and maybe weld it as a backup. Yeah, drive shaft can go back on. I think I'm going to use my other ISR exhaust. We'll go Y pipe back. Oh man, this is it's coming together. Today's Thursday. We drive on Saturday, so I have a little bit more time tonight, and then tomorrow evening, and then it's driving time. So let's get cracking and stop talking about it. All right, the rear axles. I went ahead and slid the bolts through these to keep them in place. Let me check the service manual. All right, so the axles are 58 foot-pound. I'm gonna put a little dab of Loctite stick on the end of these just to make sure that they don't back out. They do have lock washers on them. So I'll go ahead and yeah, put that Loctite on, put the nuts on, and get those torqued down. All right, got these all snug by hand. These are to be torqued to 54 foot-pounds. 17 millimeters. Let's see if I can get my wrench in here. Oh man, this is gonna be tough from this angle. One. Two. There we go. Use the subframe to your advantage over here. There we go. Alright, axles are all in and torqued, drive shaft, etc. Now it's time to move back and get some of these arms back on. So I gotta go pull those off the other car and we'll put those on. And they should already be to length, so hopefully I don't have to get like another major alignment done. We'll just send it to the track. Alright, got all the arms in. This one, oh man. You have to do something to pry that out a little. Like this one's been pinched a little bit and I can't get it over this bushing on the knuckle. So I'll get this one pried out a little bit, get it on, and then I'll go through the torque sequence. I will also get the rear coilover put on this. So we got slide over those two bolts there, pull the nuts off, tighten it up, and then right through there on the top of the knuckle. So I'll get that all on, and then I'll put the torque sequences up here in a minute. All right, it's in. Get them torqued down. Those are 21 foot-pound, and this one here is 81. So I'll go ahead and get those going. I'll put the numbers up for all these other bolts. I'm not going to show torquing them all down. You know how that works. All right, back under the rear. Sway bar is put in. Just two nuts there on these studs. Me too. And there's the top of the end link, just a nut through there. And you do that on both sides. Same as the front. Just make sure that these are adjusted so that they are snug and not like flopping around. That's all you need. I'm running the medium tightness on this one. Yeah, hopefully I set this up right. Rear shocks, I set them at 16 clicks. So just going pretty neutral on the rear end with a stiff front end, and we'll see how it works out. But yeah, so just gotta get the exhaust put back on, and this car is ready to hit the ground. After that, it's just electronic stuff, and maybe I'll do another video on that one, kind of talk through the process. We'll go through and take a look at this car later, and hopefully we're shredding tomorrow. Not a flattering look. Alright, something we need to do to get this car to drift is disable the ABS fuses. So usually there's a shroud here or a cover. Pull that off, pull this off to get to this little fuse box. Pink fuses right here. If you look at the box, you see those two that say ABS? They line up with the edge of this pink fuse here. So there's ignition switch, and then there's two ABS. Those need snipped in order to do some good drifting. I hate when my ABS kicks on. I'd rather have a stiffer pedal. I mean, yeah. So we're gonna cut that shit. Actually, we're not gonna cut that. I'm going to take it out of this drift car so that I'm not wasting a fuse. I'll just swap this one over, and if for any chance I have 2 drift cars that are running, hey, I'll just cut it. So you see here, if I can focus in, focus. Anyway, so I popped this clear cover off, and then I just took some flush cuts and cut the fuse that's in there, only on these first 2. And that will disable your ABS. The other thing we'll have to do is cut pin 101, and we'll also need to disable the yaw sensor. So there's a few ways to disable the yaw sensor. At one point in this car, let's see if it's still there. Nah, it's out of there. Anyway, at one point in this car, I cut the ground and I put a switch in between the ground so I could turn the yaw on and off. But since it's gone full drift car, it's caged, it's gutted, whatever, doesn't matter. But if you have something on the street that you don't want getting a little wacky from time to time, put a switch in it. So let's go ahead and do that shit. Yeah, I'll just start by pulling this fuse and putting it in this gray car. That's one thing. We'll get down and find 101, snip it, and then I got to pull the center console to reach the yaw sensor, which can be a pain in the ass, but I'm going to pull the seat out while I'm at it, help get to it. Plus, like, I don't fit in this car with the stock seat, so I'll be swapping seats as well. All the fun. Here we go. There we go, a little easier to see. Those 2 are snipped. I kept the ignition on. I'll just put that clear cap back on and pop this in the holder. All right, we got down to the ECU plug. Went ahead and popped it out. Pretty straightforward here. Popped the cap off the top of the plug, and we're looking for pin 101. And I know it's this pink and blue one here, but if we can adjust my hands here. So looking at it from this orientation, there we go. Some light in here. All right. So you have your first section. Those are big power wires going into this middle section here. And not the top row, but the second from the top, and then we'll go 5 pins in. That will be your pin 101. We can kind of see it right through there, right at the tip of my thumb. Maybe I can put a screenshot on the screen, but you'll see that pink and blue wire come out. We're just going to cut that. So I got my snips here. Make sure I got the right pink and blue. All right, must have hit the screen there, but wire snipped. That's pin 101. And what that does is it cuts the throttle if you hit your brake when you're trying to hit your accelerator. This allows us to do a standing burnout or do some left foot braking mid-drift. So that's one more thing to take care of. Next, we'll have to kind of pop up the center console to get to the yaw sensor. Yaw! All right, pulled out the seat because I'm going to put in my NRG seat, something to keep my ass in place. But right now I'm trying to get to the yaw sensor, and there are screw holes. I mean, I already pulled it up, but you see there's kind of the location for it right there. So that'll have like a little cap on it. There you go, you pop that cap off with the flathead. It's a Phillips head screw there. This side, the other side, and then what you'll do here is you'll pull up take off your knob, then you get a hold of the bezel here and pop up, slide it off to the side, and then you have a screw here and here, and that will allow you to pull up your center console. And I'll show you the yaw sensor when I pull that off. Underneath the center console, that is an airbag control unit. Don't fuck with that if you want your airbags to stay working. And that is the yaw sensor. I'm trying to find where the actual, how to unplug it, but I'm probably just gonna pull up those 2 nuts there, or those 2 bolts, and unplug it. So I'll just leave that wire dangling in there. Not sure why all there's rust in here though, but cool. Well, we made it. It's actually day 2 of the drift nights. Got some laps in yesterday. G's running pretty good. Did have some overheating issues because apparently I was missing like a gallon of water in the radiator. But we rained a little bit last night, but cars are still together. Nathan's a little less. Mine still looks like a basic ass G. Yep. Brian's looks good. Yeah, right here doing the thing. 4-day drift build's holding up, so we go on in like 10 minutes. Let's get some.